Ahead on Up with KREM, a loophole in Washington law means that families can lose out on millions. The push lawmakers are making to protect people from profiteers.
We've got another warm one despite the cloud cover as the warm weather trend continues through early February.
Plus, expert advice about what to eat while taking GLP-1 medication. Some of the easiest recipes coming up.
Up with KREM begins now.
Good morning, and thank you for starting your day here with us on Up with KREM. I'm Brandon T. Jones, and over in the Weather Center, we've got meteorologist Thomas Patrick keeping us up to date, of course, on all of the latest weather conditions. Thomas, what do we have in store for this fine Sunday?
Yeah, I think the Sunday's going to be okay. It's mostly going to be dry. However, just a 10 or 20% chance for some stray showers in the afternoon. I've noticed that the best chance would likely be over North Idaho after about 1 or 2 o'clock today. But that's if it even materializes in the first place. Just realize if I say 20% chance of rain, it also means an 80% chance that it stays dry. So I do think most of us will stay dry, and you probably don't have to change any plans around the weather today, but I just wanted to leave it in there just in case. You always hate it if you don't forecast rain and then it does. Would rather do it the other way around. Temperatures, though, about the same as it has been the last couple days. This is where we've stabilized now into this first day of February. 45, the expected high today in Spokane. Just a pinch cooler in Pullman at 46. But a few spots will still be flirting with 50, especially in southeastern Washington. It is going to be plenty mild for several days ahead of us as we undergo another warming trend from here. And if we get any warmer, 50s will start to become more common.
Alrighty, Thomas has laid out the weather. We've got one more day of the weekend, and maybe you still need some plans. Let's go ahead and take a look at your weekend. What's up? First up, the Kitchen Engine is doing a huge wine sale today. They're calling it the Cellar Blowout Sale. So from 11 a.m. until 1 p.m., they are going to have 20 different varieties of wine for sale. Next up, the Spokane's Children's Theater is doing a few showings of Charlotte's Web this weekend. There's one last showing today. And it's the last day to go to the Spokane Boat Show. This is the 71st Spokane Boat Show, and they'll have dealers from all over the inland Northwest. I went to the show, and I'll show you what to expect in just a few minutes. Well, changing gears now, complaints against contractors have more than doubled in the past 2 years. The data shows that Idahoans lost almost $5 million last year alone. It's part of the reason the Idaho Home Builders Association is working to strengthen the state's Contractor Registration Act. They want to give the Division of Occupational and Professional Licenses more power to hold bad contractors accountable for ripping people off. Lobbyist Ben Burgess says the residential construction industry is frustrated with the lenient law. They say these bad contractors are giving all of them a bad name.
Many of those bad actors are coming from other states where their license have been revoked, and we don't have the ability to revoke a license because we don't have licensing, right? This legislation probably doesn't go as far as we would like, but we're hopeful that it is something that is a middle-of-the-road kind of scenario that we can get through the legislature and try to give the contractor board some more authority in dealing with those people.
The goal is to preserve Idaho's hands-off approach, but also add more protections for customers. DOPL pitched a similar bill last session, but it didn't make it out of the committee. Lawmakers were worried it added too much regulation to the registration system. Well, right now, Washington lawmakers are taking aim at the so-called probate profiteers. When someone dies without a will in our state, third parties can swoop in, sell their home, and pocket the profits, all without the rightful heirs ever knowing. Here's a story from Olympia.
House Bill 2445, staff report.
In this room, testimony focuses on bad actors bilking the system, draining estates one dead stranger at a time.
Did you know that if your family member dies without a will, after 40 days, anyone can file a probate.
The Attorney General's office confirms cases of complete strangers swooping in and seizing control.
One such investigation was against a man named John Bretsky Elliott.
For 5 years, John Elliott and his associates went to work in 13 counties across Washington state.
After identifying homes that appeared to be unlived in, they would do quick internet searches to find out that the owners had died and that no one had launched a probate. They themselves would then go launch the probate.
They took control of more than 200 estates of dead Washingtonians, clearing out furniture and bagging up belongings, claiming guns and cars.
He and his group siphoned millions of dollars.
Last year, the Attorney General sued and won. A judge ordered a $7 million penalty in fees and restitution.
Unfortunately, in this case, the main culprit of the case is on the run. He's facing also a criminal charge at a county level.
We have had experience with Mr. Elliott ourselves.
The Northwest Justice Project joined the chorus, calling on lawmakers to take action.
A loophole in our state's current probate law allows total strangers to file probate petitions in high volume, quickly selling houses and skimming equity, often without notice to heirs.
A bill aims to set new rules.
To place guardrails on third-party probate administrations. It provides information to families. It provides broader transparency.
The mission is to shield grieving families and their assets from predators hunting for profit.
The request to push this bill forward is expected to be the focus of an executive session later this week. In Olympia, Natalie Swaby, KREM 5 News.
Higher in fiber and higher in protein.
Well, coming up, the nutrients people on GLP-1s need and the recipes to help them get there. And later, a look at the Spokane Boat Show. Today is the last day to check it out.
Well, we have Dr. Borsheim and Jennifer here with us. They are experts in nutrition and obviously medicine. But today we're going to chat about GLP-1s and their relation to nutrition. So first, let's start with you.
Okay.
GLP-1s have gotten incredibly popular very recently. Can you just explain on a surface level what they are and why they're so popular right now?
Well, you know, they've been around as a class of medication probably since the early 2000s. And of course, nowadays, unbelievably popular.
Yeah.
I don't think you can open up a social media site, a
Without
web page, without seeing an ad for buy your GLP-1 from wherever.
Yeah.
But very much a very useful tool for us to use in helping to treat patients.
And you can't really talk about obesity without talking about nutrition. That's why we have Jennifer here as well. So yeah. Jennifer, one, everything that you say here, I'm assuming is going to not only be for people on GLP-1, but we are going to stick with that. So why do you have this array of foods specifically?
I've got a variety of foods, a couple demonstrations I just kind of want to show you about like portion size and so forth. But just most of my patients who go on these GLP-1s, they want to know something that's going to help them lose the weight. And again, people who are not on the GLP-1s, this is again a nice diversity of food to have, but it's higher in fiber and higher in protein. Everyone focuses on the protein, but the nutrient that we miss the most of is the fiber. So start off with just a quick can of garbanzo beans, throwing them in the air fryer with some spices. Ooh, and this is what you end up with, just a nice little easy snack that's crunchy, savory, to bypass the chips.
Totally.
And so then another quick snack I love to do, it's very easy, is the carb balance. And I don't know if you can see it, but you flip it like this, you stuff it with something, flip it like this, and you can put it in the toaster. I also tie in a little bit of Greek yogurt. Greek yogurt is a wonderful base as an alternative to sour cream. This 3/4 of a cup only has 90 calories and it has 18 grams of protein.
Wow.
And it can be any kind of Greek yogurt, but I really recommend looking for those active ingredients, those active cultures.
Why is it so important to make sure you're getting, obviously it's important we all get these nutrients, but specifically with GLP-1s, why is that important?
Well, I think one of the big concerns with protein and the fiber that Jen's talking about, one of the big side effects with the GLP-1s is constipation. Constipation, nausea, GI upset. And part of it is part of the way that GLP-1s work in helping to lose weight is it slows down gastric motility, intestinal motility. And fiber is one of the ways to help prevent that side effect. Again, in my ideal world, part of the whole treatment program is a team approach and allow dietary to do their job and what they're the experts at.
Cool. Well, that was a lot of information you guys just went over, so thank you so much for both being here.
Thank you for having us.
Our weather is definitely going to stay warm through this week of February. Coming up, a look ahead at how many days we could see in the 50s.
Alrighty, folks, if you've got nothing else planned for the day, this is a good location to wrap up your weekend here at the Spokane Boat Show. We've got Scott, and what do we need to know? Sunday is last day here?
Sunday, last day, 10 to 4 today. We'll be out here 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. to help you make your dreams come true.
That's right.
Pick out the boats you want. We've got pontoon boats, we've got jet boats, we've got personal watercraft, we've got fishing boats, there's some incredible values when you walk around here, and you can just see a little bit of everything. There's an antique classic boat display clear out in the ag buildings. We've grown again this year, so we got one more room, and Tobler's filled it up with Aloha boats are back there, and the whole lot going on.
Yeah, no, I went back there. It's definitely a sight to see all of those classic, the wooden type displays. It's beautiful. But what about this show so special for you, Scott, to keep coming back and to keep bringing this here to the community?
I really, boating is a big deal. It's a big deal to me. It's very personal to me. It's a great way to spend time with your family and your good friends. And it's quality time. You can play cards, you can sit and visit, you can take a nap in the middle of the day, whatever you want to do. Go fishing. It's good one-on-one or one-on your family, togetherness, and it really helps bond. It's a great experience.
Yeah, and then if you want a little bit more than that too, then there's like boats here that can fit 14 people. You have to have a full party, So there is something literally for anyone.
You can take the party with you, but you don't have to.
Yeah, exactly. You can use those speakers to just have a nice little relaxing music playing. You and your wife, whatever it may be, just enjoying and having good times. And again, I'm already thinking about those warm summer days as well. So Scott, we appreciate you, and come on down to the Spokane Boat Show and enjoy the rest of your weekend. Thanks, Scott.
You bet. Thank you.
Well, happy first day of February, and maybe already feeling a little bit like Groundhog Day, or at least like the movie Groundhog Day, right? Where every day feels like it's exactly the same waking up. Well, I'll tell you what, I actually didn't even update the weather headlines to tongue-in-cheek just that. Today, tomorrow, all of early February, feeling pretty warm for the region. Temperatures easily in the 40s today, and we'll even push 50 degrees in a few spots later on in the week. For your day planner, just a chance of showers for this afternoon. I'll go a little bit more in depth into that because it could be a location split in regards to that, but 45 is still plenty mild, about 10 degrees above average for the season. Early February now. In Pullman, 47 degrees. I see less 50s today compared to yesterday because we will get less sunshine in those same regions. Kind of more of a cloudy day overall. Some spots just barely getting some rain, and that may be over North Idaho. So let's take you to that and Future Tracker, which will stay fairly cloudy for most everywhere. However, our modeling does give a little bit of light rain kind of in the North Idaho corridor, Bonners Ferry, Sandpoint, Coeur d'Alene, as well as the Silver Valley, Kellogg, and Wallace. So these locations have the best chance for a little bit of light rain early afternoon. This would be like 2 o'clock. Spokane and westward, you're A-okay, you're clear, unless you're going all the way to the mountains and Snoqualmie Pass and Cle Elum. But aside from that, I think we're just in for another pretty fair Sunday ahead of us. All mild across the West Coast, 40s in Spokane, 50s most everywhere else, including Seattle and Portland, 60s in Denver, 80s in Phoenix. That's the warm half of the country. It's cold out east where the Carolinas just dealt with yet another snowstorm for this weekend. Now that nor'easter is heading northward where temperatures are only in the 20s from DC to New York. By the way, feels like Washington State's temperatures are mirroring that of almost Florida. I know you can't see it below the bug there, but Miami's high temperature today is 52 degrees. That's it. And we're going to be 45. So Washington's kind of feeling a little bit like Florida for today. This week's weather trends will be way warmer than average. Our averages are 30s. I have 40s and 50s for this week. Looks like 50s will start to become pretty common around Wednesday.
And more than 30 years ago, a massive, chaotic music festival in Pullman. Coming up, a look back at Greenstock. Well, this morning on KREM 2 Plus, a look back at Greenstock, a late 80s house party scene in the inland Northwest that exploded into a massive music festival, only to fall apart. Here's a new look at a KREM 2 Plus special, Mud, Music, and Mayhem, the Greenstock story.
It really was a joke. It was the guys who lived at the greenhouse, which was this legendary party house at Wazoo, saying, could we really have every band in Pullman play at our house?
I walked outside and I said, I'm sick of cleaning up on Friday night. We should just have a party that starts on Friday after school and goes till Monday morning.
At some point, they moved it outdoors.
The whole community is welcome to my rattlesnake moving, teepee warming private party.
The police had kicked in the door to my house with a warrant.
Somebody had said, you got to hike for your right to party.
Now, the city of Kendrick wasn't exactly on board with this, were they?
No.
We got up a petition, and we had a lot of people sign that said, not to have it.
One of the sheriffs, he said that, hey, you got a lot of rain.
Well, still ahead, the Northwest missed out on the winter weather hitting the rest of the nation this week, but now experts say the lack of snow could have a big impact this summer. Next on Up with KREM, Washington has about half its usual snowpack this year. What that could mean for the summer on both sides of the state.
We'll continue to follow our doctor's best advice.
Plus, changing vaccine recommendations, leaving some families unsure what pediatricians advise. And later, we are taking you to a reindeer farm out in Leavenworth.
Up with KREM begins now.
Good morning, and thank you for starting your Sunday here with us on Up with KREM. I'm Brandon T. Jones, and over in the Weather Center, we've got meteorologist Thomas Patrick. He's standing by. Thomas, I already asked you a little bit about just kind of the warming trends, but are we going to be getting any warmer than what we are currently seeing over the last couple of days or so?
See, the answer is yes, but only just by a little bit more for this upcoming week. I mean, here's the thing. So for January and February, you look at our average high temperatures, and it does slowly creep up, kind of like week after week. It's a very slow climb out of like the dead of winter and even into early spring on occasion, but we're already starting out warm. Some would argue that can we get any warmer than this? 45 for the high today? The answer is yes. I have 50s in the forecast for this upcoming week. So that is the stretch of weather that we find ourselves in. As for those rain chances that you saw, they're pretty small, but I will monitor North Idaho today, especially like I-90 from Coeur d'Alene and Lookout Pass and northward. These locations like Sandpoint and Bonners Ferry have a slightly better chance for an afternoon shower. Meanwhile, over Spokane and westward, things are looking a little bit more clear on the Washington side of the state line. So that is the difference that I'm monitoring today. If you're in Coeur d'Alene, you have a slightly higher chance for a quick afternoon shower.
Alrighty, we want to let you know about a couple things going on this week, starting with a new policy which goes into effect today. It's official. If you travel without a real ID from now on, it'll cost you $45. That fee covers the cost of verifying your identity, and the verification lasts for 10 days. You can even pay the fee ahead of time at paid.gov. And remember, a valid passport is an acceptable form of ID if you don't have a real ID. Well, the Spokane Ag Show is this week at the Spokane Convention Center. It draws thousands of people each year with hundreds of exhibits and experts. It's a chance to see new equipment, talk with people in the industry, and learn more about how agriculture supports jobs and the local economy. Head on over to agshow.org for more information. A chilly and charitable activity this week. It's a polar plunge. The Kootenai County Sheriff's Office and the Idaho State Police are hosting the plunge at the Red Lion Templins Hotel in Post Falls. To plunge, you must raise at least $100 or $75 for youth. The money goes straight to Special Olympics Idaho athletes. Well, most of the country saw historic winter weather this weekend, but here in the Northwest, we still haven't seen much. That lack of snow could have long-term consequences. Cody Proctor with our Environment Northwest team breaks down the current state of the snowpack.
We may be in the middle of the city, but right behind me is Mount Spokane. And as you can see, there's not a lot of snow up in our mountains. And that could end up being a big problem for us this summer.
We're missing about half of what we would normally have today on a typical year.
That's Washington State climatologist Guillaume Mauger. According to him, the state currently averages about 55% of their normal snowpack, and Spokane's watershed is no different.
Spokane Basin specifically is actually at a record low right now. It's at 50% of normal, which is the same as statewide. It's just that we haven't seen a year that bad in the historical record.
Think of the snowpack like it's a bank account. Mother Nature deposits the snow into the snowpack. Once winter's over, the deposits stop, and we start slowly taking the moisture from the snowpack, keeping us from drying out too soon.
So we rely on it really to get us through what are really dry summers. Even on the west side of Washington, summers are dry, and that snowmelt is particularly important in the beginning of summers.
But if not enough snow falls, the snowpack runs out faster. That's a problem for many reasons, but especially for fire season, something DNR's wildfire communications manager Ryan Roderick knows too well.
We'll be monitoring that very, very closely. We want to see how those fire fuels are going to absorb and hold on to that moisture.
Now it's still early in the season. The state climate office says Washington snowpack usually peaks around April, and DNR says a wet May and June would likely help fire crews. But we're starting from behind.
But at this point, we're far enough behind that it's getting less and less likely that we'll be able to catch up.
Now, another thing to note when I spoke to the state climatologist, he says December's atmospheric rivers dropped a lot of rain across the state, but instead of helping, that actually ended up hurting our snowpack. In Spokane, Cody Proctor, KREM 2 News.
Well, in health news now, the American Academy of Pediatrics is continuing to recommend vaccination against 18 diseases for children, even though the CDC has made some big changes. Here's what parents should know.
The American Academy of Pediatrics Child and Adolescent Immunization Schedule for 2026 recommends routine vaccination against 18 diseases.
The vaccine schedule reinforces our work to ensure that every child in every community throughout this country gets to live the safe and healthy life that they deserve.
The AAP schedule differs from the CDC's released earlier this month. The CDC's removes routine vaccination recommendations for hepatitis A and B, meningococcal disease, rotavirus, flu, RSV, and COVID-19, and downgrades them for high-risk groups and under-shared decision-making, when parents and doctors discuss to determine if treatment is appropriate.
There's no medically justified reason to downgrade the recommendations for these dangerous diseases. There's no reason children should have to suffer and die from preventable diseases.
12 major medical and healthcare organizations representing more than 1 million medical professionals are endorsing the AAP schedule.
It reflects the best available science, expert consensus, and decades of real-world data demonstrating the life-saving impact of timely vaccination. In the midst of high seasonal flu and RSV activity, and a significant resurgence in measles, it is more important than ever for the public to have transparent and consistent communication from trusted sources.
We've been lucky to have a really good pediatrician who I trust completely.
Becca Slocum says, as a mom of 4, the changes to the CDC's vaccine schedule are concerning.
We'll continue to follow our doctor's best advice, which I think will still follow the prior recommended schedule.
She says she knows how important it is to keep her kids safe and healthy. Karen Hua, CBS News, Houston.
Well, did you know that Washington State is in the reindeer belt? That's right, the reindeer belt. Coming up, a look at a famous Leavenworth reindeer farm. And do you recognize this song right here? Later, the front runners in the Grammy's Best New Artist category. One of the most famous Christmas towns in America, Leavenworth, is right in the foothills of the Cascades. That's, of course, in our new Backroad segment this morning. John Bartel takes us to its famous reindeer farm.
In the Bavarian-style town of Leavenworth, Washington, where the Wenatchee River meets Icicle Creek, there's a small farm with a big secret. It's where Santa's reindeer rest up and bulk up before Christmas.
It's dinner time here. What are you feeding them now?
This is called lichen moss, or old man's beard. Okay. And it grows in the old growth forest. So we have a lot of it here in Washington State.
If you didn't know, Santa's reindeer split their time between the North Pole and here at the Leavenworth Reindeer Farm with caretaker Erica Bowie.
I'm the lead elf probably around here, but we're a family-run farm. 3 generations of our family work together on the farm every day. So my parents, Kari and Hans Anderson, started the farm.
You may be wondering why Santa chose to keep his reindeer here in Washington. Well, Erica says there's a good reason.
We get that question a lot, actually. Well, Washington State, is specifically Leavenworth, Washington, sits at the same latitude on Earth as places like Mongolia, where actually some of the largest, healthiest herds in the world roam today.
So we're really kind of in the...
We're in the reindeer zone.
Huh.
In fact, Washington State was the last state in the lower 48 to have reindeer in the wild, or what we call caribou here in North America.
Reindeer and caribou are basically the same species. There's just one difference.
Caribou are wild, reindeer are domesticated, and they have been for thousands of years.
Erica says the Sami people from Norway, Sweden, and Finland use them as livestock, either as food or as pack animals that carried or pulled supplies in sleighs. Here at the Leavenworth Reindeer Farm, they're pets, and visitors can feed them lichen moss or willow leaves. But in the wild, Erica says they also eat something else.
Reindeer love lichen moss. They love magic mushrooms.
Okay.
Helps with the flying part, of course.
Yep, you heard that right. Erica said they eat magic mushrooms, the psychedelic kind, and Erica has quite the story about how humans found that out.
You know, the legend of flying reindeer actually came from magic mushrooms. Remember the Sami people I was telling you about that call northern Norway, Sweden, and Finland their home? It is rumored, or it is storied, that they used to actually drink reindeer's urine.
Okay.
And they would feel the effects of the magic mushrooms without having to worry about any of the dangerous effects. They'd sit around their campfire and look up in the sky, and they'd think their reindeer were flying through the sky.
Culture is fun.
Culture's so fun.
At the farm, you'll pick up some fun reindeer facts, like how their hooves are built to walk through deep snow and how both males and females grow antlers. But beyond the holiday magic, there's a serious message: the conservation of Washington's wild caribou population.
Like I mentioned earlier, Washington State still had a herd of caribou as recently as 2019. So we had a herd of over 1,000 caribou 10 years ago. That herd dwindled down to about 50 and then down to under 6.
Habitat destruction and climate change are just some of the reasons for population decline, but to build back the wild caribou herd, the Leavenworth Reindeer Farm raises money for the Caribou Conservation Alliance.
So what we do is when the antlers fall off as natural sheds, we raffle them off to raise money for caribou conservation.
Reindeer are fascinating and gentle animals, and Leavenworth is one of the few places where you can get up close to them and learn all about them.
You know, let's see the, I guess this one doesn't have a red nose. She doesn't.
No. Reindeer only have red nose on Christmas Eve, right?
From the Leavenworth Reindeer Farm, I'm John Bartel. Hope to see you on the back roads.
Well, if you're a homeowner, you may be wondering when it's a good idea to tap into your home equity. We have an expert joining us in just a few minutes to run us through the pros and cons.
It's time to rise and save. Right now, we are in our home series talking all things about homes and money. So this morning we have Jessica Galladay with STCU. Thanks for being here with us.
Thanks for having me.
So I want to jump right in. Interest rates dropped, and a lot of people are kind of having questions about what to do with their finances and when in terms of their home, or maybe they want to buy a home. Today we want to talk about HELOCs. Tell us what a HELOC stands for, because it's an acronym, right?
It is, and acronyms are long. It's a home equity line of credit. So just think line of credit when you see that LOC.
Okay, so tell folks what is a HELOC and who qualifies for one and how do you get one?
A HELOC is a variable rate loan. It's similar to a credit card. It's a line of credit that you can use for future purposes, and they typically have variable rates, but affordable payments.
But you qualify for getting one by using equity in your home, right? Talk about that.
You do. So equity in your home is the value of your home less any mortgage loans you have. That difference is the equity that may be available to you for use.
Okay. And how does the credit union or the lender determine how much you can borrow?
Lenders often will allow borrowers to go up to 80 to 90% of their available equity. Factors like credit score, your income, ability to repay, all of that factors in as well.
And then is there an appraisal process?
There is. We do an appraisal to make sure that we all understand the value of the home and then run the calculations from there. So it's always great to check in with your credit union or your banker to ask questions about it.
And then let's talk about the other one, the home equity, is it the home equity line of credit?
Home equity line of credit, and then a home equity loan.
A home equity loan, yes. Tell us about that.
Sure. The home equity loan is a fixed lump sum with a fixed rate. You typically are taking the amount and then you're paying it down over time until it's paid in full.
Okay, so what's the difference between the two for folks, and which one would be better suited for other scenarios?
Sure. A difference, the home equity line of credit is something that you can use now, or you can also have it for planned expenses down the road. A home equity loan is something that you may have a need immediately, or you need that lump sum, and then once you pay it down, it's paid in full. So home equity line of credit, future use, always available. Home equity loan, one-time pay down.
What's the number one question you hear from your customers when it comes to these things? Because it can be kind of confusing, especially maybe for someone just getting into it.
It is. The members really want to make sure they're making the best financial decision for their home. And I mean, that's something that's incredibly important to us. You want to be really cautious, ask lots of questions. So we're always recommending to reach out to your credit union, reach out to your bank, even check in with your trusted realtor. Find out, what should I use the home equity funds for? How can I best improve my finances with this? So ask lots of questions.
Okay. All right. Thanks so much for being here. We have more with you. Nicole's going to be talking with you next about credit scores. So be sure to stick around for more Rise and Save and join us again on our next episode.
Well, happy first day of February, and maybe already feeling a little bit like Groundhog Day, or at least like the movie Groundhog Day, right? Where every day feels like it's exactly the same waking up. Well, I'll tell you what, I actually didn't even update the weather headlines to tongue-in-cheek just that. Today, tomorrow, all of early February, feeling pretty warm for the region. Temperatures easily in the 40s today, and we'll even push 50 degrees in a few spots later on in the week. For your day planner, just a chance of showers for this afternoon. I'll go a little bit more in depth into that because it could be a location split in regards to that. But 45 is still plenty mild, about 10 degrees above average for the season. Early February now. In Pullman, 47 degrees. I see less 50s today compared to yesterday because we will get less sunshine in those same regions. Kind of more of a cloudy day overall. Some spots just barely getting some rain, and that may be over North Idaho. So let's take you to that and Future Tracker, which will stay fairly cloudy for most everywhere. However, our modeling does give a little bit of light rain kind of in the North Idaho corridor, Bonners Ferry, Sandpoint, Coeur d'Alene, as well as the Silver Valley, Kellogg, and Wallace. So these locations have the best chance for a little bit of light rain early afternoon. This would be like 2 o'clock. Spokane and westward, you're A-okay, you're clear, unless you're going all the way to the mountains and Snoqualmie Pass and Cle Elum. But aside from that, I think we're just in for another pretty fair Sunday ahead of us. All mild across the West Coast, 40s in Spokane, 50s most everywhere else, including Seattle and Portland, 60s in Denver, 80s in Phoenix. That's the warm half of the country. It's cold out east, where the Carolinas just dealt with yet another snowstorm for this weekend. Now that nor'easter is heading northward, where temperatures are only in the 20s from D.C. to New York. By the way, feels like Washington State's temperatures are mirroring that of almost Florida. I know you can't see it below the bug there, but Miami's high temperature today is 52 degrees. That's it. And we're going to be 45. So Washington's kind of feeling a little bit like Florida for today. This week's weather trends will be way warmer than average. Our averages are 30s. I have 40s and 50s for this week. Looks like 50s will start to become pretty common around Wednesday.
Do you recognize this song right here? Later, the front runners in the Grammys Best New Artist category.
Well, the Grammys are tonight. That's exciting. Music's #1 night.
We got a big music fan over here. Maybe he's up for a Grammy this year as well. But we know who is Kendrick Lamar, Sabrina Carpenter, Lady Gaga, and just a bunch of other people up for those awards tonight. The front runners with a combined 22 Grammy nominations. Here's a preview of who might win.
Kendrick Lamar leads the 2026 Grammys with 9 nominations, an encore of last year's success where he took home 5 awards. He's competing again for Record of the Year alongside Bad Bunny, Sabrina Carpenter, Doechii, Billie Eilish, Lady Gaga, Chappell Roan, and Rosé and Bruno Mars.
Initially, I kind of thought Kendrick Lamar had it in the bag. Now, I've kind of changed my tune, and I think it's more of a race in some of the top categories between Bad Bunny and Lady Gaga.
Music critic Chris Willman says the Grammys voter base is evolving.
One thing the Recording Academy has done recently is invite everyone who votes for the Latin Grammys to become a voter for the regular Grammys. And so that is going to cause a big shift, I think, in giving Latin music more of a chance.
Puerto Rican powerhouse Bad Bunny is nominated for 6 Grammys. Newcomer Leon Thomas also has 6 nominations.
That's a real vote of confidence for him. He's kind of the anointed one this year.
However, Willman predicts Olivia Dean will take the award for Best New Artist. She faces off against Thomas, Cat's Eye, The Marias, influencer Addison Rae, Somber, Alex Warren, and messy singer Lola Young. But music's biggest night includes more than just music.
Best audiobook, where you've got the Dalai Lama versus Fab from Milli Vanilli. And only at the Grammys does that become a competition.
The category also includes actress Kathy Garver, Supreme Court Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson, and Trevor Noah, who returns to host the Grammys for the 6th time. Gwen Baumgardner, CBS News, Los Angeles.
No, I didn't know that audiobook was a Grammy nod.
Yeah, man. Well, so do you have anyone you're rooting for in particular tonight?
So for me, it's not necessarily like the best artists or the pop albums. I have to dig a little bit deeper down. I look for the rock and the metal albums myself. I see that Linkin Park is up for best rock album because you know they had their first new album since Chester died. So it is really incredible. That's been on my workout playlist.
You got any Linkin Park samples you want to give us out here? I'll try to jump in with you.
I would say I'm
messing with you.
Well, I'm thinking about their new songs. Like Heavy as the Crown has been on the top of my list for a while.
We need to hit up T-Pad and get some of his playlist recommendations. He's moved by the music, and you got to see this guy out at karaoke sometime. Let me tell you. Let me tell you that. Well,
please. Hey, Brandon's the one who actually sings more on TV than me.
I don't sing well, but I love to sing them.
Exactly. Well, that's all it's all about.
Yeah. Well,
I love to play golf, and I'm not that good at golf. So
right.
Kind of same thing.
That's a good. Right? All right, well, you can watch the Grammys tonight, 5 p.m. right here, only here on KREM. So make sure you
crank it.
And crank it.
Crank it up.
And you're going to have a great time. We're going to have a great time. And so thank you, Thomas. We appreciate you.
Brandon.
We appreciate all of you out there for watching here on this fine Sunday morning. And we'll be seeing you tomorrow morning on Monday. Have a good one, everyone.